it's Miss Summer here with our very first edition of And It Starts Like This for teens. Today we have a mystery called A Long Stretch of Bad Days by Mindy McGinnis. Chapter 1. I don't mind living in a small town. I just don't want to die in one. I also am not interested in serving time in one either, but that possibility is growing exponentially as I seriously consider murdering the guidance counselor's secretary. But, of course, I'm not allowed to do that. For one thing, it's illegal. For another, I'm Lydia Chass, and being a Chass in a small town like Henley means something. Mainly that you're good and kind, earning the respect of everyone around you. I'm sorry, what? I say it the right way, the nice way, with a smile. But my eyes must be hard, or maybe my smile is showing too many teeth, because Mrs. Pascal can't quite meet my gaze. We don't know how it happened, Lydia, truly, she says, her hands fussily rearranging things on her desk. A coffee mug that reads pencils but holds only pens. A photo frame that proudly announces my grandchildren that exhibits only one child. A red Expo marker cap that sits loosely over the tip of a black Sharpie. Nothing makes sense here and everything is wrong. Yet Pascal still somehow manages to seem struck with wonder that a mistake has been made in this office. A very big one. One that could stop me from graduating. Walk me through this again, I say calmly, leaning forward. I don't have enough history credits to graduate. Is that right? Yes, Pascal says, nodding in apparent relief that I have grasped the conversation so far, and we're very sorry about that. She adds a quivering smile to this, maybe hoping that that particular silver lining will be relayed to my parents, along with the news that their only child just got screwed, even though I'm still totally a virgin, which has nothing to do with morality. It's much more a factor of having overloaded myself with courses, college credits, extracurriculars, teams, boards, and advisory committees. I put my sex drive on hold in order to organize blood drives, food drives, dog adoption drives, and anything else that would look good on a resume. Because Ivy League schools aren't impressed when you're the valedictorian of a graduating class of 68 students. And they're definitely not impressed when you don't even graduate. I'm very sorry about that too, Gladys, I say, glancing at the plaque on her desk for her first name before dropping it. She winces, and I know that particular bomb hit the target as it should. Gladys is a terrible name. But being sorry doesn't put me any closer to what I need, I say, keeping my voice calm. So before I go home and tell my parents that the guidance department at Henley High has ruined any chance I have of getting into a first-class journalism school, why don't you tell me how this is going to be fixed? There's a rapping of knuckles on the door behind us, which stands open. I know it's Principal Walton without turning around in my chair. He's exactly the kind of person who doesn't have the confidence to walk through an open door without permission. We have an idea about that, Lydia, Walton says, coming around to Pascal's side of the desk. She visibly relaxes, like having a witness means I will back down. The Chass veneer has always kept me on the safe side of social acceptability, but while I might have my dad's eyes, the volatility that lurks beneath them can't always be hidden. Which is, I ask. The board and I came to an agreement that this is a very unfortunate incident, he says, leaning back against the wall, like we're buddies having a chat about baseball, not discussing my future or the fact that Henley High just went to town on it with a chainsaw. And we came to the conclusion that no one is really at fault here. He finishes up, giving me a quick shrug like, things happen, Lydia, you understand. Things happen, they do. They just don't happen to me. No one is really at fault here? I repeat, narrowing my eyes. It's an interesting point of view, I guess, if we want to worry about blame, which I can see why that would be a topic of conversation. We wouldn't want to put it on a particular person, right? Principal Walton is nodding along, like he's sure the words I'm saying are in agreement with his own, but for some reason the tone is making him uneasy. It's called being facetious, and I might explain that later. But right now I have a point to make, and I'm about to drill down. Because if we said a particular person was responsible for this mistake, that would probably be Mr. Benson, the former guidance counselor, right? Gladys nods quickly, like I'm doing a good job of identifying school staff. I tilt my head toward the closed door to the right, which has the words guidance counselor painted in black on the window. Underneath that, the outline of Mr. Benson's name can still be made out. A janitor scraped it away only a few days ago. The room beyond is darkened, the square of the window a black hole that my GPA is about to be sucked into. And if Mr. Benson were responsible, that would reflect poorly on the people who hired him, wouldn't it? Walton shifts against the wall, recrossing his arms. Lydia, Gladys jumps in, eager to deflect. You know that Mr. Benson has been going through a really tough time. I do know. Everyone knows. It's Henley. But the fact that his wife left him for another woman doesn't strike any real chords with me. My grandpa died holding my hand, and I still took the SAT the next morning and got a 1600, thanks. A tough time, I repeat, and we wouldn't want to make that any worse, right? Oh no, Gladys says, but Walton is watching me, suddenly aware that there's blood in the water and it's probably not mine. Or tarnish his reputation, I continue. Maybe we're even worried about his feelings a little bit? Very much, Gladys says, like the self-worth of incompetent guidance counselors are at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But none of this is a surprise to me. I've lived in Henley my whole life, so I know this game. We're all going to be nice. We're all going to say the right thing and not use words that could hurt. The only salt that gets passed around in this town is at the dinner table in private homes. In public, we might as well be spitting fudge in each other's mouths. We're so damn sweet. But I'm Lydia Chass, and I'm done with that. Being a Chass means two things. People expect you to be nice and polite, and I expect to get my way. Sometimes those two things are in conflict with each other. This is one of those times. So let's not blame Mr. Benson, I say, getting up from my chair and crossing over to the darkened room. The knob turns in my hand, and I breeze into Benson's office, the motion sensor lights flickering to life above me. Lydia, wait! Gladys's rolling chair hits the wall behind her, just as Principal Walton says, "You can't just..." Of course, someone who knocks on open doors would think that I can't just. But I can, because I choose to, and I will, because I am Lydia Chass, and they're about to find out that if they're going to screw with me, they're going to need more than muttered apologies and one-shouldered shrugs. It's okay, I tell Gladys as I reach for the bottom left-hand drawer of Benson's desk. I don't blame him, I reassure her when it slides open. I blame this. I set the half-empty bottle of Jim Beam in the corner of the former guidance counselor's desk. I rest my hand on the lid, tilting the bottle back and forth as I talk, listening to the slosh of the bourbon inside. We can't blame Mr. Benson and hurt his feelings, tarnish his reputation, or get the board and administration in any type of trouble, I say. So we'll blame this bottle. I'm happy with that for now, as long as your idea about how to fix this is a good one. Well, Lydia, Walton says, clearing his throat and eyeing my palm as I roll the bottle under it, the board and I thought an independent study project could be a substitute for your missing history credit, assuming, of course, that it's of sufficient scope and depth. I tap my ring finger against the neck of the bottle, the circle of metal there, part of a meteorite whose trajectory I calculated in 5th grade, rings against the glass, reminding him that scope and depth are not going to be a problem. NASA representatives have only been pictured in the Henley hometown headlines once, and they didn't come here to meet him. On the other hand, I don't think I can barge into the offices of the State Department of Education and start opening desk drawers and flashing space junk while demanding that they change graduation requirements because my guidance counselor was a drunk. The truth is that verbally sparring with Walton and Gladys might be a great outlet for my rage, but in the end, I'm going to have to take whatever deal they give me. And I'll scope and depth the crap out of it. All right, I say, and they both visibly relax. I toss the bottle of Jim Beam at Walton, and he snatches it out of midair. There might be an ex-athlete under all those desk Twinkies and gas station sandwiches, but he's buried deep, and he doesn't have the recovery time to stop me when I open the second drawer to unearth a baggie of unmarked pills. And if Mr. Beam doesn't want to take the blame, I tell them, we can always pass it off on Mr. Benzo. Am I right? So that's the end of chapter 1 of A Long Stretch of Bad Days. Do you know a teen that might be perfect for this book? Or are you a teen that might be perfect for this book? If you are, give us a call at the library, and we'd be happy to put it on hold for you. Thanks for listening. Bye.